Hey everyone, today we're going to get into machines. So you probably heard that when Electron came out with the 1.5 operating system back in March, they introduced machines. If you have other Electron boxes, you might be familiar with machines, but I'm going to go through the 3 new machines and explain how they work. So if you press function and source, now you have these 4 options. The one-shot machine is the machine that was default on the Electron, and that's really great for working with those one-shot hit samples. This is the one that I've been using for all my other videos, and it's probably the one that I use most often. And as the name implies, it's really great if the samples you're using are just a small bit of audio that you want to use on one step of the sequencer. But what the other machines do is add in some functionality so the Electron works really well with longer loops. Now, all of the different features that you can get out of these machines can be accomplished with the one-shot machine. There's nothing really new you can do. However, it makes it so much easier to access. And rather than tweaking tons of settings and entering in all kinds of trigs, it gives you a bunch of parameters that's particularly suited for whatever purpose you want to do. For instance, here is the loop that I've loaded up. It's a 2-bar drum beat. So this loop is at 110 beats per minute. And if I bring in something like a clap to show us where the beats are, since this project is going at 120 beats per minute, it's not going to quite line up correctly. And you can hear even the last bit of the drum beat. That little fill thing, that's going to get cut out entirely. See, it just gets re-triggered. So it's not lined up right. Now, there are hacks out there to accomplish this, but let's use the Werp machine. What this is going to do is actually time stretch our loop. So we're going to set it to 2 bars because it's a 2-bar loop. And if we listen to it, suddenly it's all lined up. But there's also really fun, creative ways you can play with this. If you notice that the segment right here, you can change the segment size. How the Digitakt accomplishes that time stretch is it basically breaks up your sample into multiple different segments. If you're setting it at 1/16th note, then that's how it's going to be broken up and time stretched. It makes a lot of sense if you have a drum beat where things are going in 16th notes or landing on 16th note beats. But if you have something more complicated, like a 32nd notes, you might want to set it there. And you can kind of hear it gets a little bit distorted when it's playing a little bit faster. And setting it slower, there might be some subtle overlays and things like that. I'm going to go ahead and leave it on 1/16th. You can put in parameter locks to change different settings. And I'll just give you one example here. Let's change the mode to reverse. Then we'll set this one back to forward. We'll go to reverse, forward. We'll do the same thing on the next page. Listen to what this sounds like. Pretty cool stuff. Let's check out some of our other machines. If we go down to Repitch, that basically does the opposite of what the Werp function did, where it still time stretches, it makes things match, but rather than keeping the pitch the same, it's going to either speed up or slow down your sample and thus changing the pitch to match whatever tempo you're at. So again, I'm going to set it to 2 bars because it's a 2-bar track. And then you'll notice as I change the tempo, it changes the pitch. There's also some great effects that you can do. If you wanted to cut the beat down to halftime, you could turn it and stretch it over 4 bars. That's how Repitch works. Now the last one's really fun, especially with drum beats. It's slice mode. What this does is chops up your beat or your sample into slices, and then you can choose which one plays. So the grid controls how many slices you're going to have. So right now it's set to 4, and if we look at our sample, it's broken up into 4 parts. The dotted line, there's one down the middle that's kind of hard to see, but the dotted lines create the different slices. As I said before, all of the notes on this drum beat are landing within 16th notes. So let's go ahead and change this to 16. Now, each time a drum beat is hitting, it's going to be its own slice. That's the first one. Let's change it to the second one. So as you can see, you can get some really creative stuff. You can even change the length. Since we're in 16th notes, that would be 2 16th notes. At 16, this would be the full beat. And now I can manipulate it to make a really cool pattern. So let's just go into grid recording mode, and I'm actually going to trigger all of them. And we'll do it on both pages. And then I'm going to come back in and set in different values for each of the slices. And right now, I'm just doing it totally randomly. Trying to mix it up a little bit. I'm going to leave 1 on the downbeats. Go to page 2. Let's listen to what that sounds like. Awesome. You can even take some beats out. So there you go. I hope that gives you some creative ideas for how to use these machines. Get in there, mess around. There's all kinds of different ways. Try out different samples. I would suggest that the Werp, Repitch, and Slice work better with longer samples, whereas one shot obviously works best with one shots. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's all thank Perfect Circuit for sponsoring this video series. Thanks again. I'll see you next time.